more information you have, the better the decisions. Data is crucial to do important decisions in Dota games and even before the Dota game in preparation. It's really cool that a big company like SAP is investing into esports and that I can be a part of it is amazing.
In our fourth and final series of the day, Liquid had grabbed the reins in the first game and did not let go. Now they are going to lead by 1 against TNC in this elimination match. And I do want to ask you guys right now, I kind of heard Kyle saying it. TNC, they tried to dominate in the early portions of the game. Kyle basically saying their strategy looks like they want to win in the first 30 minutes. And Nahaz, I just want to ask you, isn't Liquid the best early game team in Dota? Are they not?
I still think they're right up there. I think the Razor pick ended up being a super hard counter to the Jug. Even though they didn't lane against each other, the Razor was able to control that lane, keep down the Kunkka, and ensure that the game was going to be extended. And, you know, Kyle and I have argued back and forth a lot about the Juggernaut. Jug loses at farm parity against most of the hyper agi carries in this patch. He's not going to play well against TB. He's not going to play well against PA, etc. When Jug is powerful is when you're sustaining pressure on the enemy side of the map. TNC was able to do that for about the first 25 minutes of the game, but it becomes one of those situations where Liquid wins one fight in their own jungle, Razor gets that triple kill, and all of TNC's momentum, bang.
Yeah, and you talk about that one fight, and then all of a sudden it looks like they really just do not take their foot off the pedal at all. Was that the story for you as well here, Lacoste?
Oh yeah, it's just like they hit a wall and suddenly the game goes in completely different direction. Mind control, man. He's carrying from position 3. We didn't like the position 1 Sven, but he played like a beast. His itemization was perfect, even though besides the second AC that he wanted to buy, which he did not see, but then he just kept it for the attack speed. Also, once they use Will-O-Wisp and Warcry, they're just glowing. You can't fight against that. Imagine if they had a Crimson Guard.
The glow, baby. Now, mind control carrying from position 3. I mean, where have I seen that? Oh, yeah, at TI7. This guy's a stud.
And I do want to also point out, just doing due diligence here, we look at Shadow, and even just in the video when we get to see him, he's looking like he's feeling a lot better.
Yeah, that was one thing that you saw at the footage at the end of the game, that he looks like he's, you know, at least drinking some water and not looking completely pale.
He's smiling, too.
Look at the mini-map, though, at this point. I mean, this is 20 minutes into the game, and TNC already has all of Liquid's outer towers and 4 of their own, right, standing. This is where they want to be. They just can't quite win these fights convincingly enough, in part because, as you see, the Kunkka and the Timbersaw have been held in check. They're not up there with that Jug. I think if one of those 2 cores is farmed, that they're able to do some damage to the high ground of Team Liquid. As it was, Gabby was really the only one that was able to split push and do any building damage inside the base for most of the game.
And this is the fight where everything turns for them. I also got to give credit to Mind Control when he was playing laning stage so well. He did not want to fight the Timbersaw. He was just trying to play away from him, which is pretty smart. Timbersaw is going to beat any melee hero in a lane.
Absolutely. And this is really, it's not just the fact that Liquid are able to take this fight so convincingly. It's the fact that Mutumba gets this triple kill. Razor, a hero that, you know, he's going to dominate in the laning phase, but there's always going to be that point in the game where he's going to fall off. You have to keep sustaining that momentum on this hero, and this fight went a long way toward doing it. Sexy mana dodge there by the end of by Gabby.
Razor did not dominate his lane. Kunkka was ahead of him, but with this kind of an item build on Kunkka, he's going to fall off as a hero. You have a Timbersaw, who's not that great of a late gamer, and Juggernaut against the TB. Once TB gets the Scotty, he has the illusions, he has such a high armor. Juggernaut's not going to be able to deal damage to this Terrorblade. That's the point. You use Omnislash, and after that, the hero just feels completely useless.
Yeah, I agree.
Kyle said that as well. And when you look at the Jug, when you look at the
God, am I not am I agreeing with
You've been
Kyle?
agreeing with
You
Kyle
are
left and
agreeing with
right
Kyle.
today, yeah.
I also think I love that observation by Lacoste. You're right. The Matumba didn't dominate his lane on the Razor, but he did enough to hold that Kunkka down. Like that early Yule's Scepter, I felt was a really value purchase in that game. It disrupts the Kunkka combo. If he ever tries to go on you, can take the Timber Saw out of his Timber Chain. Ended up, along with the Yasha, giving him tons of movement speed to get around in these fights. Just a great utility build.
And gives you chase potential as well.
Yep.
They don't have the best one besides Mind Control with the Blink Daggers, so he has a lot of movement speed and can catch on people. Timbersaw just cancel his Timber Chain as well. Oh, this is a sick play. Lotus Orb from Timber, and Shadow just dies.
So with the builds that we see from the Kunkka and from the Jug, you were saying that we see them fall off very much so. So the strategy of TNC, trying to get a victory or a win condition in those first 30 minutes, is this not the strategy you want to see them going for in the next game?
I mean, if they wanted to finish the game before, maybe they could have gone for Visage instead of a Juggernaut, go all in and just try to finish game before 30-minute mark, because their damage is going to be pretty static with this kind of an item build, and you're playing against TB, one of the best late game carries in the game, so it's kind of hard to match against the lineup that Liquid had. You're playing against double Will-O-Wisp.
It's something that has come up when we've talked about the valuation of the Juggernaut. Is I think it's a part of the problem you're seeing some teams struggle with this hero is that a lot of teams are buying into the fallacy that he gives you late game insurance. And against the drafts that we've been seeing in this tournament, Jug really doesn't play that well in the late game unless he has this massive farm advantage like you saw the other day on Ramses' Jug.
I got a good credit to TNC. They played extremely well first 20 minutes of the game. I think after that, if they didn't get the huge advantage, they just couldn't close the game.
Yeah, and that's why I was kind of asking, was it a problem with strategy or was it a problem with execution? Because it seems like in your mind, you're basically saying, well, if you're going to go for that early game, you got to go all in.
I don't think they were that. I really don't think TNC, I'm going to get flamed for this, I'm sure. I don't think they were that far away in this game.
Yeah, they
I
were
think
so close.
If Timbersaw or Kunkka is a little bit more farmed, maybe if that's a Visage instead of a Jug or another hero that offers you even more in the early game, I think they're close. I think they're going into game 2 saying, guys, we weren't that far away. We're playing against a good opponent. All this potential for Shadow to be off his game, that's not going to happen. We're going to have to meet Liquid at least their full strength at this event.
Also, if let's say a Juggernaut decided to go for a different kind of a build, a Manta-style Diffusal, which I really like, especially against a hero like a Terrorblade. He does not have mana to use the Sunder. You have one more, not Purge, just the extra slow, whatever it's called right now, and have more kill potential. If you wanted to close the game before 30-minute mark, 25, maybe that would have been the better choice. Now
Mind
that I'm
Control,
looking at
your
the game.
MVP here?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Mind Control played amazing. Also,
absolutely agree.
Razor played so well. He died at the fountain in the end.
Yeah. Honestly, this is something, Rich, that you were asking me about, just Matumba as a player. He's such an asset because he's, like, don't forget, he was one of the leaders on the EU MMR leaderboards. He is a great player, 9K plus player. He just doesn't need a lot of farm. He doesn't need to be the superstar. He just likes to ruin your game. You just send him in a lane. He ruins the game of one of the enemy heroes. He's totally happy just roaming around the map, screwing with the enemy team so that Miracle and Mind Control have the space to take over the game.
And it definitely works. We see it pay dividends for Liquid here, but with TNC, if you are a TNC fan, one of the nice things that we can kind of hear here is that you don't need to go back to the drawing board, but instead you just need to iterate upon what you did, take it one step further, and it still could potentially win when we get back to the next draft. But Liquid needs to be feeling relatively comfortable here, even though it is an elimination series. They got that wiggle room in the best of 3. They can potentially take it here and go to that top 8. What do you want to see Liquid do, though? We see Razor be incredibly annoying, but what is that win condition that Liquid looks the best with?
Stay the course, man. I think you saw it right there. TB, one of the big strengths of the hero is that it's very hard to keep him down because with his kit, he can dip back into the jungle and farm neutrals very efficiently, even at very, very low levels of net worth. So when he gets in a trialing, when he gets into a disadvantage early, as long as you're not ceding total map control on your side, that hero can usually come back into the game at some point.
And that's when you know you're in store for a good series, right? When both the teams, your suggestion as an analyst is stay the course. Just keep doing what you're doing. You both have potential to win here. Still a relatively even matchup. We knew that there was a lot of room for this to be a little bit volatile based off the fact that these two teams are operating with stand-ins. We were unsure about how well Shadow was going to be. He looks fine here, so they're playing with the stand-ins they intended to play with. And now we have a series on our hands for sure. And I do want to talk just a little bit more about what we've seen so far in this tournament, what the field of play does look like, because these guys about to crack the top 8 are two teams that we expect to, this is kind of the matchup that determines what the lower bracket looks like. These are two of the big gatekeepers. And what other teams in the lower bracket do you think really do pose a threat, Lacoste?
Oh, definitely EG, even though they showed some of the weaknesses. EG, they're kings of the lower bracket, and they always find their way to wiggle through the lower bracket. Vici Gaming as well. There's a bit controversy with this team if they probably went... Oh, never mind. Let me tell you a story. I forgot about it. I promised a story about TNC yesterday. So TNC, I heard about it. They wanted to book their tickets home right after the group stage. So they did not believe in themselves, and somehow they managed to win best of one, and they're still here. That's not winner's mentality, though.
It definitely isn't, but then we also look at what did happen yesterday, and it was the day of upsets. If you missed it, all of those best of ones, pretty much every single best of one goes the opposite of what people would predict based off of what we've seen from these teams in the past, and now all of a sudden that made for kind of a weird day of Dota today. And now, do you feel like we started to trim the fat? Do you think the best teams have risen to the top?
The best teams have risen to the top, but like you talk about with EG, with Vici, and even to some extent eHome, there are a lot of those teams that have some questions to answer, right? I mean, EG, guys, you know, this was a team that had a huge run at this last TI, right? They had a huge run at the last major, finishing in the top 3. This is a team that a lot of people expected to really break out, and they've been very, very up and down. So it's really going to be more who can fix those mistakes with the off day coming up tomorrow.
This used to be one big pimple on that nose.
You are really fixated on noses. Do you know
it's not me, it's the cameraman. Look at it zooming out.
That's a manly chin right there. Look at that. Look at that. That's the highest win percentage, career win percentage in professional Dota on that chin right there.
He made a bet with Black. He may lose that beard. Happens to the best of us. Draft now underway. And when we look at all of these teams, Nahaz, you kind of mentioned that there are a lot of questions to be answered. I'm going to ask one right now because what we've seen already from the teams that are still in the upper portion of the bracket, how do these lower bracket teams go toe-to-toe with them? Because they look like they're playing on another dimension right now.
Yeah, if what we have seen so far in this event holds to form, we are going to see a secret VP winners bracket final. We know that. And we're probably going to see a secret VP grand final. It is all going to be about which one of those lower bracket teams can make the adjustment to be able to compete with one of those two. Because based on what we've seen so far,
it doesn't look like many people are rising to that challenge. If you did have to pick one team as these initial bans do come through to potentially challenge those two teams, potentially wiggle their way into a grand final, who do you think it would be?
EG.
EG?
But again, it's just which of those 3 teams is going to figure it out. I am less confident answering EG to you right now than I would have been before the event began.
Fair enough. Definitely maybe seeing history repeat itself here at our second major, which some of these teams would be very happy with.
All right, let's talk about the bans coming out here because the Undying first phase ban is something we haven't seen a lot of in the tournament. Dazzle's actually gotten through a number of drafts, first phase ban in both the first 2 games, and Team Liquid has just had enough of that Kunkka.
Oh yeah, so we see TNC kind of adjusting already what happened in game number 1. Undying is gone, Keeper of the Light. I was surprised that they did not ban
I mean,
Coddle in the first game.
Lich, Tusk, Earth Spirit, Centaur, all of these, and Io, all of these big heroes left in the pool. And when you talk about, again, GH, with 100 or more games, there is no player in Pro Dota 2 history that has a higher win percentage. This hero, one of the bigger reasons why. GH, Io, sick.
Grimstroke Lich, that's a good counter for a Liquid, because Io loves to be paired up with someone, of course, and Chain Frost already looking good, plus Grimstroke ulti.
Haven't seen many IOs get through, and every time I have seen it, it's paired with a gyro. So what is it about this duo that just is so strong and makes it a staple for when IO does get through?
I think this is the most popular combo in Dota right now. I don't think it needs that many explanations. We've seen it so many times. It gives them a free Aghanim Scepter on level 15. They farm quickly. You just need a hero to start a fight with, relocate, then suddenly you have 3+ heroes. And before that you had 1, so pretty easy to play, and they pair up well together.
And it also makes a lot of sense why we do see that IO so often banned out in that first phase.
Yeah, basically Io can function perfectly well without gyro. The reverse is not true. Gyro is like, out of about, 48 now appearances in this patch. I think it's 45 with Wisp and 6 without, so 51.
Maybe they should target a hero like a Centaur. That's a great answer. Finding an IO, great against gyro as well. And there's already a Grimstroke on side of TNC.
And I think the other thing when you talk about Centaur is the Lich Grimstroke pairing is very powerful, but it's also very squishy, and you need a hero that can build those aura, those tankability items. There's the Centaur right there, and also just protect those back lines. Stampede, a powerful disengagement tool for them as well.
Medusa's still in the pool if they want to go for it. Maybe
Oof, that feels very
greedy.
Very greedy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But since they banned out Anti-Mage, it just screams Medusa to me.
And why ban out that AM instead of banning out something like the Centaur?
I have no clue. I mean, they just picked Centaur, so I don't know. They have their own reasons.
AM is just really weird statistically. He came into this tournament with, I want to say it was a 46-19 record in 7.20 professional Dota. He's 4-10 so far at this event.
Yeah, so many times sitting down on the desk, whether we're on camera or we're talking about the matches while they're on, we're on break. AM has been a big talking point between everyone, talking about what scenarios he actually looks good, because there have been quite a few drafts where people are going, AM's the perfect pick, AM's the perfect pick. Then we see the game, and it doesn't look like that's the case at all. AM, definitely one of those heroes that's left a question mark on the CQ Major book.
It's hard to have a well-rounded draft around AM. It's vulnerable in mid. It's really vulnerable in the mid game, but maybe they're discussing this for quite some time. OD could be a good pick as well if they want to grab it. But
wow!
All right,
only the second appearance at the CQ Major for the Spirit Breaker.
Aceless Void. You know what heroes in the pool still? Elder Titan. No one picked it yet, but they need a mid hero on side of TNC. Faceless Void.
Both teams presumably need a mid.
Oh yeah, we're gonna see some memes. Give me those memes. Spirit Breaker and
Darkseer,
yeah, baby.
Bulldozer, baby. I mean, and it's honestly, it's whatever you have to do to create chaos around the map to allow that IO Gyro to farm up unharassed. And I see some of the same weaknesses in the TNC draft right now that we worried about with very similar lineup from eHome last night, that while you have that potential huge Chronosphere to fight around,
OD.
Do you have pickoff potential?
They should get rid of.
Oh, absolutely,
OD.
get rid of OD here.
Since Spugna is banned out, one of the worst matchups for OD.
I think if you get rid of OD, Armel still plays very, very good SF. That's another ranged hero that can get in that and pump damage into that Chronosphere.
SF's really vulnerable against
to
Spirit Breaker
yeah,
rotations
exactly
early on.
Yeah. I mean, we've not Invoker is unpicked so
Yeah.
far in the tournament.
This is what I talked about. Suddenly, there are going to be 3/4 heroes at the same time. Spirit Breaker charge, someone shows on the lane, you have one hero rotating, and relocate. I love this already from Team Liquid. Even though TNC's lineup is looking good, I just want to see what
So
the
are we
last
going to
hero on Team
default
Liquid's gonna
back
be.
to something like a Puck for your mid that has the mobility to potentially deal with that early pressure?
Oh yeah, Puck feels really nice on side of Team Liquid if they want to grab it.
For Liquid or TNC?
I'd say Team Liquid because
Okay.
they need some kind of a control for Faceless Void. None of these heroes provide any besides Spirit Breaker. I don't think that's for Faceless Void. I don't think that's going to be enough. And Lich, Grimstroke, again, once you get on top of them, they have no escape, especially if you silence them. But all right, so OD is getting banned out.
Yep.
They could grab a Puck. I would like to see some Puck. So
Like a tide.
that's a core tide.
Wow. Is that a mid Tide Hunter, potentially? Or do you run the IO Gyro mid? Yeah, the core, that's tremendously powerful. This core Tide, when you look at the builds that we've been seeing from this hero, he's going armor reduction early on. He's going very heavy into that armor reduction, synergizing with the Gush, and that makes the team of TNC. If he gets a Deso or something like that, gets in and Desos multiple people, all of a sudden that flat cannon of Gyros just shreds.
Yeah, but these the heroes on side of TNC, Liquid, Grimstroke, Lich, they're just really low armor.
Right.
I don't think this looks really rough for TNC.
I don't know. This mid Tide seems to me like something that could look amazing or really look underwhelming.
They have Darkseer, which is gonna build those team fighting items, so Tide can actually go for damage. They're gonna need definitely a pipe this game. Crimson Guard always feels good to have.
My question for you guys, you talk about this Team Liquid lineup. First, let's take a look at TNC.
Okay,
They're gonna
should
grab
have
the
talked
Tinker.
about Tinker. Yeah.
Let's talk about this Tinker Nas.
It's going to feel really good in terms of the mid matchup, but it's also in this game, I think it's going to feel a little on the slow side. It's a very good deep push. It's a tempo controller, but I think it very well may end up like a dual mid lane. And Tinker Lich against IO Gyro, I'm not sure how great I feel about that.
Now, out of curiosity, referring to the Liquid lineup as somewhat of a meme factory, how difficult is it to actually execute that, Lacoste?
I think it's pretty easy to execute. Yeah. Maybe the problem will be communication, because Shadow is playing the Gyro and you're always paired up with the IO, so you need to know what you're doing. Maybe a lot of pings is going to do the trick.
Yeah, we've talked about that in the past, right? We've talked about that in the past, that they've needed to really try to work around the fact that Shadow's communication skills are not as great, but they're going for a very interesting lineup, and we're going to have to see, are they going to be able to close it out in a 2-0? We're ready to get this started. Liquid against TNC.
Yeah, good question. Can they actually close it out? Right now, there's a lot to think about. We have a hero that we have not seen yet. I don't think he's been played the entire tournament. In fact, I don't think I've cast this guy since 7.20. The Spirit Breaker pickup. Of course, Kuro gives us something different.
I like the draft from TNC, not even because of the heroes necessarily, but of how they've changed their play style. They had major issues with the way Liquid was able to push out lanes. Now you have a Tinker. You don't really have that problem anymore. In addition, you've simplified the game. Suddenly your stand-in Rior is no longer playing a Timbersaw who's got to make tons of decisions. Where am I farming? How aggressive am I playing? How do I itemize? When am I trying to win this game with my team? He's playing a Centaur with a Grimstroke.
Yeah.
You just get in there, and now Armel is the person that you're empowering to actually win the game for you, not desperately run around the map as your only stun.
So you talk about like the Tinker being empowered, but he's also up against one of the oldest counters against him, Spirit Breaker. You charge, you've always got that vision on him. So how is he meant to play around this? Is this just going to mean like you'll set to build up nice and early, or?
I think he'll go for the Yules. You never know for sure. Bear in mind that it's really only in the early game that you're susceptible to this, and it's going to take... you have a lot of counter initiation, right? A Lich can teleport in, Grimstroke can TP in. It's not ideal, but he'll have Stampede to peel as well. And Liquid, this is a much more difficult game for you. You can't 4-1 anymore. Shadow is playing Gyrocopter. So yeah, sure, I'm sure GH is perfectly capable of leading him around by the hand, but you've got to expect them to be at least a second or two slow.
It was when we first saw this pick come up. We're like, okay, how is this actually going to function? The tether is up, and now Shadow, he's too far away. He's actually going to give away first blood up on the top lane. Couldn't stick around with the IO, and GH just tries to get what he can, but it doesn't work. He'll have to back off and even TP out from here.
So yeah, it's pretty simple. Put shields on the Centaur, he runs in. Far less complex, and I think the TNC lineup is very well geared to defeat this Liquid lineup. And we'll see. Matumba Man on the Tidehunter.
Yeah, Matumba on the Tidehunter, but it's also something else I kind of wanted to flag a little bit. It's the fact that we talked about like how these dual lanes, tri lanes, it's so difficult to rotate around without being scouted out. But now you're going to have SB with Iron Shell on you. This would be so easy for Kuro to just jump over towards the mid lane. And this time around, there's not, like, they've put one Observer ward down, but it's a very late information ward.
Yeah, and it is a Tidehunter, and he's deceptively strong in the laning phase because the Gush is a 40% slow, -4 armor, and it lasts for 4 seconds. You have a charging Spirit Breaker on top. You will be able to find that kill, but they're going to need to try and rotate on Armel early, kill him once before Ravage, once with Ravage, and then look to ward up his jungle, ensure he doesn't have that time to recover.
Yeah. It's also that other thing to look at is the fact that, like, the Darkseer as well as the Spirit Breaker will be playing very, very far down. Okay, now he's going to walk past the Observer ward, and Armel will have to back up for a little bit.
Yeah, I think that ward is more optimal if it's placed on the high ground like we saw earlier today, because now you won't have that vision on your own shrine, and a Spirit Breaker has a very easy path if you just wanted to, say, charge from this direction, where he'll often be because they're backlaning. Could punish them.
Kuro walked in just to also leech a little bit of the experience. He didn't have the greater bash up just yet. It's this top lane that I'm really worried about when you look towards Team Liquid. As you said, very simple dual off lane for TNC. How do you make the communication game between GH and Shadow work? Like, GH is walking away, the tether disappears. Shadow, he's got to really connect and get his mind in the game to stay up, like keep up with this Liquid lineup.
Top lane, Grimstroke Centaur, it's formidable, but they will need that +1 if they want to find a kill. It's difficult to land anything on anyone other than the Wisp, and he's got 800 HP already.
I'm loving this bottle pickup already. Regeneration route for the Tidehunter for mid lane, and that's exactly what they're going for. Gush out, Kuro adds some pressure. He doesn't come in with an Iron Shell, but that's why Ninja Boogie is forced to also stand here in the lane.
Yeah, I really like what TNC's done here. And yes, I know it's IO Gyro, but that combination takes a very long time to come online. And I again point to Armel on the win condition, not the setup. Not the guy that's got to make all the moves. I love when this guy is in a position where all he has to do is play around his teammates, not vice versa.
Literally exactly what they're doing. SB's charging up, going to try and create a little bit more space. Double hoof stomp, but here comes your Spirit Breaker right into the Centaur. They're going to secondary rocket barrage off, but that Centaur is so damn tanky. He's got the boots to get a little bit more distance away too. Another rocket barrage, but they work together, but still it moves around the Grimstroke, and then a charge forward. Kuro mad cowing under the tier 1 tower, working with Shadow. GH and Shadow both find these kills and even force the TP up from Ninja Boogie. The Lich will join the lane.
Yeah, I would have. They were at a level. Ah, man, I just don't know if I like that play. We're going to go for more.
Centaur's just going to run forward. Frost Shield up. There's your first slow. There's no combination with Tim's. He didn't want to use the Ink Swell.
You're being a bit too aggressive in this top lane. I understand you smell blood, but it's all good. You can out CS this lane. Gyrocopter has 9 CS. Centaur has 7 denies. You don't need to pressure a lane this hard when you're already winning it. Far better to just keep Creequilibrium, out CS. Gyrocopter is not going to be farming stacks anytime soon.
Yep. And even then, like right now, I think Tidehunter's going to be a better farmer of those stacks. Mind Control's been having a good time on bottom lane. Nowhere near as much experience as he probably would like. He's a full half level. Full half. What is that kind of talk? Yeah, last game of the day. He's half a level in front of Mind Control, and he's still got the creep wave coming in too. Mid lane, SB's charging forward. Just keep the information on Armel. Matumba will tank through this. He got Anchor Smash off cooldown in 1 second time. Armel able to juke it around inside the tree line. But the SB wants to keep going. Matumba, he's got Gush. This is almost like a classic Jimmy build. You go for the bottle on Tidehunter. You've always got this never-ending Gush that you can just pump out while up on top lane. GH can tether away to a defensive shadow. And Kuro's got charge off cooldown in 2 seconds time. So even if they get aggressive up on top, which TNC want to, is 15 seconds till runes, they're going to find a different target. The sentries try and block it. There's your charge forward. Grimstroke cancelled out. The homing missile will switch targets down to the Centaur, which traps him for the moment on top of the bounty rune. Even a first hit bash. Sure that this is why the Frost Shield is up and why the Frost Shield is so good. You get the War Stomp off, but is this really worth it? You're going to lose your Centaur. 5 stick charges available. They won't use it. And Shadow is now up to 3 kills. The bounty runes will go the way of TNC.
The wave was pushing a bit as well. I mean, both teams lose a wave there, but again, TNC, I understand bounty runes are spawning, but you're always going to be out-rotated when Kuroki can just charge across the map.
Yep.
You don't have that same mobility, and Gyrocopter, again, even though that's only a level 2 rocket barrage, that's so much damage. It's 360 every Q, and he's not running out of them. There's a Wisp tethering him.
So Lich moves back into the mid lane to try and defend. Kuro has hit level 3. Now remember, we have this ability. Like if you are an old Spirit Breaker player, you'll probably not think of Bulldoze as an ability, but oh boy. It's the status resist on Kuro. He's going to want it for now. The stun's already come out. He can charge away if he wants to. He could stand his ground because Matumbaman is starting to move over. And Matumbaman does actually have Arcane Rune, and he's got Ravage available. Makes that first Ravage usage a lot more efficient, but the charge from SB, they realize that Centaur is alone because the support's rotated up Centaur. Wolf Stomp, he'll get it off, and that pretty much cancels the charge forward.
And just to note, like, I know he died once because of the rotation, but Matumbaman was winning that mid lane before he actually got the kill on Armel. And would you ever think that, going back a year or two, that a Tidehunter's mid and he's forced a Tinker out of lane and won the first few waves?
It's the changes. It's Anchor Smash changes, right? Like
that's true.
And it's the fact that I actually remember in the Alpha, Dendi, now part of Team Tigers, he would actually go Maelstrom onto his Tidehunter just for it was for shits and giggles. And now it actually becomes a legitimate item to build on a Tidehunter. Maybe not that legit, but
legitimate,
unique.
Legitimate like Joffrey maybe. You got a nice ward up top. Okay, but look at this stack.
I'll give you points for the Game of Thrones reference. Yeah, this is really nice for Tidehunter to take. The Courier's even flying over the top of it. One more Anchor Smash and he claims it all. Now Grimstroke will try and do something about it. Spirit Breaker moves down south. Remember, there is still the Tidehunter Ravage. They kind of want to have the fight, so you charge forward into Ninja Boogie. One more bash from Kuro would probably help him out. Matumba, okay, he doesn't care. He commits the Ravage. They know they'll get the kill.
Yep, I like it. You got an Arcane Rune, you know you need it for the kill. There's no reason to hold on to something that you most likely won't be using just because, again, he's just going to go straight back mid, get that bottom rune, and he'll have an Invis now. 90 seconds, Ravage is up again. Look for him to possibly TP somewhere else to utilize that just as it comes off cooldown.
I actually cannot believe just how easily Mind Control is also not being touched. This guy's been playing fantastic this tournament, and you're giving him free farm. And Faceless Void is one of these heroes that cannot contest him without support. And they're going to try it. He's got Chronosphere available. This is before the Darkseer has any kind of real defensive items. He went for Arcanes as well as for Soaring, but Chrono's out. He tried to get the charge off. The Iron Shell is on the Spirit Breaker, so now we'll see just how well it can work. Not pulled back in, and Gabby gets a double kill. This is fantastic for him. This will speed up his damage output by increasing the speed of the Mask of Badness.
Oh, indeed, and that was Liquid getting a little over-aggressive. So far, both teams have tried for a little aggression in the enemy jungle, and both have been punished. You gotta, I don't know if going in on this Void that's threatening Chrono is ever the move, but Mind Control, though, respect, because he's been pressuring that back lane for a couple of minutes, and yeah, he gets punished now, but Void was level 8. He got a lot of farm on that creep camp and behind that wave. He does die for it, but still fine. Plenty of net worth.
Top
70
lane.
CS.
SB's charging forward. They've got Homing Missile to combine it, so one of these stuns will be able to connect. Spirit Breaker, the Hoof Stomp, keeps them away for a bit, but with the call down and the Rocket Barrage, and they're keeping them alive. GH's Fairy Fire popping, so they can stay on top of the Gyrocopter, then underneath the tower for Tim's. Armel, he'll TP in to be involved in this fight. Spirit Breaker wants to charge forward, but Armel, so much damage and Liquid. You talk about over-aggression on bottom, they do the same up on top.
And they get the all chat from Tim's, a perfect bit of salt to rub in the wound. One well played by Armel. He doesn't have bots either. That was just him teleporting top. That was an excellent rotation. He did it into the tree gap as well, so I'm not certain Liquid noticed until it was maybe a second or two too late.
Yeah, when the Master of the Machines was already down, then you start to feel the burst damage. He did go for a 2-2-4, so that march does hurt hard. And the kills, another item to move up. We talk about the Faceless Void getting the kills on bottom, moves the Mask of Madness forward. This increases the speed for BTs.
Yeah, I'm liking this game. I think TNC, you're in a position where you should be feeling confident. They're certainly feeling themselves, and right now they have all the momentum. The last two skirmishes going handily in their favor, but it is always a Wisp Gyro. You can never count out Liquid, especially if they have this combination.
Matumpa's forcing the issue. He wants to get this hit on the tower. He'll charge forward into the ledge, combining with the Gush. -4 armor. Grimstroke's nearby. That's why they're Sinister Gazing him in, and they can soul bind both Kuro and Matumpa together. I don't think is he waiting for it? Denial on the tower comes from Ninja Boogie. They don't commit any major abilities. And they deny the tier 1 tower. Great play from TNC.
Yeah, well done.
Oh, they're going again. Relocate. They're bringing in friends. They're chasing after Tims. And Kuro, he'll get in pretty deep underneath the tier 2 tower. Maybe too deep. Call down. Ninja Boogie will walk back into it. The homing missile. You
Chrono.
still have Tims staying alive. And Chronosphere, Gabby, he's holding it thanks to the relocate of GH taking Shadow back up to the top. Good hold.
Indeed. It's nice movement from TNC, and this I just feel that their game is much easier to play. That's the key that I want to focus on, because they aren't going to be abused around the map like Liquid did in the previous game. Spirit Breaker, sure, you can be everywhere, but he's very low damage. In fact, the entire draft of Liquid is very low damage until the Tide and Gyro. I can't believe I'm saying Tide, you know, physical damage items. But until they come online, it's really all about the pick-off. The team fights do not favor them.
Smoke's going to break. A quick jump up high, but it was Kuro who was down in the tree lines. They're putting already the stun onto the Faceless Void. Slowed down. They're underneath Shrine. Makes it difficult. The Shrine did get popped off, and now, yeah, Ravage available. Charging forward towards the Grimstroke. Get the chaining stun, so no follow through. Ninja Boogie is in pretty deep, but they put down 2 Observer Wards on this run, both away from any of the camps, so nothing will be blocked.
I don't know if Liquid knows that that happened. We'll see. Usually, if they sniff out some wards, they immediately buy sentries, but they did not in this case. And oh, Chain Frost!
Yeah, it's Ninja Boogie going for the solo. GH and Shadow trying to split up, but they're very tanky. Chain Frost is good, but IO is better.
Yeah, that was very ambitious.
They may just kill top.
He's probably dead from that position anyway.
Time dilation, Mask of Madness, chaining stuns, way too good. Kuro does even pop the 1 charges. Felt like he was not going to live through that, but he still wanted to burn it.
Yeah. You're going to have a blink soon on Rior as well, and then he can just get active. And I'm normally not a huge fan of rushing blink, but he did get the 2 bracer buildup, and in addition, it's far easier to use that when you have that Tinker as the global threat. Bots are active. He'll probably be finishing a blink maybe 2 to 4 minutes after Centaur does, and then it's so easy for them to find kills on the Wisp, on the Spirit Breaker, on anyone they want pretty much.
Well, they're waiting for the gank over on Rio, and that's why Tidehunter Invis Rune Gush him up, holding the Nether Strike. He knew the Stampede was going to be coming, but Gabby goes in for the Chronosphere. That's 2 very tanky heroes. Oh, no! Shadow is going to arrive with the call down. Faceless Void and the Tinker both going down. Not where he wanted to be. The homing missile will switch targets over towards Tims under the tower. Where's it go now? It ain't to the Lich. Oh, boy. That's one of those replays that you probably don't want to see, but you do want to see.
Man, that is...
Look at the tips. Look at the tips coming in. It's like, thanks, Shadow. You did a good job, boy.
I like the decision from Shadow. He's gone the 2 Wraith Treads into Maelstrom. Whenever you're playing against a ton of disables, mischance, it doesn't work on laser, but even if he's chronoed, he will be able to still get those Ags hits off if the Wisp is tethering him at level 15+. And it's by far the fastest acceleration item for a Gyrocopter, and you already know this game is going to go late.
Faceless Void is looking for a fight, but that's the one hero he doesn't want to do. Mind Control's been sitting on bottom lane, up to level 12 now. Almost completed up the full pipe. Here's that fight once again. So the jump in, they waited perfectly. Gabby, Chrono's in, but it's not anywhere where they wanted to be. Caught underneath the tower.
They just don't...
In the middle of 5 heroes of Liquid.
They are not ready yet. Tinker is the sole source of damage. I'm talking about the Liquid damage issues, but really, I mean, if you fight into their ultimates, you're going to get wrecked. TNC, you need Tinker to have more. Right now, he doesn't even have a Blink Dagger. Let him farm, delay this game, use Chrono to find free kills. it's tough to team fight at the moment, especially if you're not targeting GH.
So instead, like, while Ravage is down, take the tier 1 tower. TNC look at what they can get out of this map. As you said, like, farm up the Tinker, get the Blink Dagger available. But Void wants to be still a presence on this map.
Yep.
But they're changing the lanes up, Liquid. Like, you've got Kuro farming up mid. The Gyrocopter has moved with the Io to the bottom lane. They're in much need of levels. Like, yes, you have the Maelstrom over on Shadow. That's nice, but you still want to have the level 15 into the Io, and this is taking some time.
Yeah, the difficulty is both of your supports on the side of TNC are very squishy. And this is where Spirit Breaker thrives, especially now that Kuro, he's already level 9. Lich is still just 6. Like, you get charged, and it becomes child's play for Liquid to isolate you, pick you off immediately. Like, you relocate on a charged support, they are dead before they can cast a spell. And look at the warding from Liquid as well. They have total control now of the TNC jungle.
Which is funny because it goes the other way. That TP did not complete from the Tinker. He was beating onto the creep wave, but the Anchor Smash kills it off. And now you see Tide try and sustain, look for the vac into the Ravage. Darkseer, he's holding it for the moment. It's Iron Shells onto the Tide Hunter. Surge is not available to move him forward, but it doesn't matter when you got Spirit Breaker starting up the initiation. They're all grouped up nicely, 5 heroes together, but Centaur, he wants to fight. Stampede off, but the Ravage, Tide just breaks free so quickly that Soulbind, it catches Io.
Oh,
Shadow can't do anything. It was a perfect double chain frost from the Lich.
Wow. That was an incredible punish from the side of TNC. Somehow they got nipped by the Ravage. They were so far away, but the positioning, that's how you got to fight. That initial chrono that we saw the first time was just a hard commit. You can't play like that. Kite the Tide, kite the Spirit Breaker, find your stronghold around the Tinker March, and get that Soulbind off. You have double laser, double chain frost, double edge.
Oh,
you're going to find
Darkseer.
kills.
Now we'll see just how tanky they can be. Kuro charging forward, hits on 2. They'll back into a double Anchor Smash, not to mention a 3-man wall. Kuro started this fight with 250 HP. He's barely alive, and they'll stick together to get not 1, not 2, but they'll look for the 3rd kill. Faceless Void, is there a charge of darkness? You're looking to move in, but it doesn't matter. Shadow already gets the revenge into Gabby. And Tinker does add a lot of pressure on top lane, however, so Liquid is still back into recovery.
That's vintage SEA Dota right there. A little too much aggression. They got a little overconfident thanks to that teamfight victory. Liquid does punish. They were close. They had Chronosphere that entire time, but just weren't able to use their spells in ways that would have worked. They have the nice wards placed thanks to the movement. They will have that one near Ancients fading soon. And if I'm TNC, I'd like to see them smoke, get that chrono used, find some pickoffs, and establish map control.
We were actually talking about this before when we saw the Spirit Breaker pick up. The kind of build, especially in the talent tree, that you want to see in from him. He went for the plus 600 night vision. Is this exactly what you're looking for? You didn't think like he needed the armor in this game at all?
No, I like it here because you're going to beat TNC by finding the right targets and jumping them. You want to abuse vision, abuse the initiator's advantage. You don't want to be in a position like armor's not going to help. You're going to die to Tinker, right? You just got to find these guys.
Io and Gyro, they're in trouble. Faceless Void started up for the Chronosphere, won't get it. And GH, he moves perfectly to the side. They'll tether over now. The hook stop is over on the Gyrocopter. The rocket spam is just kicking in non-stop. Now nice you'll chrono both. The Lich Chain Frost will not work, however. Darkseer, he's got the back. He's got the Iron Shells. They've kept him alive.
Oh my
Shadow
God.
is up. 60 HP was all he needed. Void goes down. You'll have the Centaur join him as well. 9 HP he drops to. 1 charge up. Blink Dagger comes off cooldown. And it looks like Liquid don't have the vision. Oh, yeah, they do. The Observer Ward's inside the lane. Gush forward. Won't matter. And Tidehunter just continued to just run forward looking for more.
That is all. That's the team fight item disparity. I've heard so many different captains talk about the importance of these sustain items. You've got a Pipe and a Vlad's on Liquid, but the 3 cores of TNC, they've all got to worry about their own games. None of them can afford to go back for these items to help their team. Pipe, Vlad's, that's the difference maker, and that's why the Gyrocopter stays alive. Of course, probably could have optimized your spell casting a little bit better, TNC, but
it was difficult with the initiation target, right? Like, they thought they were going to get the double Chronosphere, but it would have been max range right on the edges, and the Chain Frost wouldn't have bounced that far anyway. Yeah. So they wanted Io as well as Gyro locked together. Didn't get what they wanted. Yeah, and Liquid punish.
The concern is the Void. Like, we already know how much damage Io Gyro is going to do. We've seen Tidehunters go late game, as weird as that may sound, as right clickers. Gabby, he doesn't even have his Shadow Blade finished yet. There's no farming mechanic for this hero. Yeah, he can right-click creeps one at a time, but Gyrocopter is going to be accelerating much faster, especially considering he went for that Maelstrom. He's going to finish his BKB. That's on the way. Liquid is hitting a timing. You really don't want to mess with them when Ravage is active.
Yep.
And it is with an Invis Rune and the Blink Dagger available.
But this is the strength now of TNC's lineup. This is the reason why they want to pick up Tinker over on Armel. Get him over all around the map. He's got Blink Dagger, he's got the BT, he's got everything else he needs, Ether Lens for long range. We thought he would go into Eul Scepter just in case, but he's realizing he needs to have that damage output. They need to kill off the IO with the burst damage, so Dagon's the next one for him.
I feel like, okay, I like the Dagon because of the Soulbind. I like Ags as well because of the Soulbind. It's kind of a preference thing, and you know, you will be able to blow up the Wisp, but this is a huge ask for Armel. He's got to do nearly all of the damage for his team.
Look at that movement speed. Never really think about that combination. Spirit Breaker surge forward as he charges Soulbind and the double Chain Frost. You can think of that combination. You will lose Kuro. Matumba will get the Ravage off. It's a 1-for-1 trap, but now here comes Shadow in the cooldown off target, and they're locked together with their own Chronosphere. Darkseer tries to create space, backing around, actually pulling Centaur into the middle of the Chronosphere. GH, Bullcrab, he's still alive at 150 HP, and Shadow, BKB's up, the Flacken and damage spills out, allowing him to get the kill over on the Lich, but he's lost his entire team, needs to rock a barrage back, and Gabby senses it coming. Time walks away. And TNC, what a fantastic fight for them.
Yeah, that was a bit of a mistake from Liquid, though, I gotta say. That was the IO Gyro just not able to link in time. The ult came out, but it hit the river. If we have a replay, I'd like to take a look at it because that was just miscoordination, and that's the difference in this game. Your stand-in is no longer playing this one position that can just safely farm corners of the map. Your Gyrocopter, you've got to be involved as much as possible. And watch, so like look at the link. The Wisp Gyro, they ran, they're hesitating still. Shadow is not immediately coming over. He's going to pop his ultimate, but for what? Like, he's still not here. The Ravage is out. He's still not here. Now he's ulting on a solo Void. Leaps away, no problem. Runs straight up the high ground into a double Chronosphere. Armel has enough time to get a full cycle back to base and then come up to find even more kills. Shadow also not getting BKB up before the Chrono. This is just not the same Liquid that we saw even in the previous game.
Yep. It's just, and it's well played by TNC. So you have those kind of problems now. Here we go once again. It's a very, look at the speed of that little pink icon down on the mini-map. It's the surging in Spirit Breaker.
Yeah, this was a I love this combination. You surge Spirit Breaker, and he does damage.
It's the movement speed is damage plus 24%
and
at the moment.
You're no longer capped at haste speed, so you actually just run it not quite over 9,000, but you know, you're in the 4 digits at certain points. And
I don't think, we've seen no hero ever reach 9,000 damage. Apart from maybe Pudge during Year of the Beast.
That's true.
Then it was 9,000 damage.
I mean, Bulldog does get a lot of viewers nowadays. Bear in mind, those are 2 fights now. Oh, Void first.
Yeah,
no Ravage,
Relocate's coming in. He'll jump up, but that's why Shadow was already there. And you've got support. The Soulbind is out, and here goes your double Chain Frost. They want to split. GH just has to tank it. Shadow is the BKB to protect himself, and then TP out. No, they fear they pull him back in again. The BKB wore off. Man, I don't know if they had the confidence not to use the Chrono. They knew the timing, but double kill, Ninja Boogie.
They didn't even have Dust for that. There's no way they're finding that kill. Does anyone have Dust? Kuro did, but like the Wisp Gyro, that's so ambitious, and you know you're on an active shrine. They're going to run straight to Roche on TNC. I don't know. That might be a bit ambitious. I don't think they have the damage to do it before the respawn, but they know the BKB is down. And so far, 3 fights now the TNC have won. It's Liquid being aggressive over pursuing. They're catching Soulbind and then double Chain Frost. That can't happen. If you're going to win these fights, you've got to abuse the TNC's support duo before the fight starts.
Great Observer Ward that's actually up and out of range of the 2 Sentry Wards that Liquid put down. So they see Kuro trying to run in. Roshan very low, 1k HP. Tidehunter silenced up for the moment. GH, his eye is now going to work with him. And then the Chronosphere, 2 of them caught. Roshan brought down, and maybe with the Soulbind, is there any kind of control? It's just all control on Io. He never had a chance. It wasn't even Soulbind. It was a simple silence, and then Tinker does the rest.
This is all a game about initiation and vision control. If you're Liquid, it's time. You got to find a fight around a ward that TNC doesn't expect. Kuro is a mastermind at this, but it's going to get progressively more difficult. As you can see, Tinker adept at shoving lanes at all times, top and bottom, constantly pushing towards the Liquid side of the map, and they are TNC's just doing a great job. They're consistently killing GH at the start of fights and protecting their Lich and their Grimstroke, who are just always getting their spells off properly.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. Also, like, their positioning to get those spells off. Like, I was worried when we saw the Lich as well as the Faceless Void picked up, because it's another disappointment. It's when you've got the big combinations that you never see actually done. And that's what we had in the third series today. It's like Faceless Void and Lich. We saw it actually 0 times. That combination actually worked during that. But in this game, it's been 3 times that Soulbind Double Chain Frost has been able to come out. This gives more and more time for the Tinker to get stronger. He's up to level 2 on the Dagon. He can buy the 3rd if he wants to, and they're waiting. It's Tinker wards with the Sentry, no hiding, but Armel's playing from the southern side, while the rest of TNC are pushing up mid.
And that combination, there's a reason they gave Wisp and immediately went into this combo, because the Soulbind, even through BKB, links the Wisp and Gyro together in bounce range. GH wants to be able to drop tether, roll away, and then come back in to re-engage. He can't do that when affected by that ultimate.
And TNC, they need to have this advantage. They know this fight's going to get harder. Level 15 arrived on IO, so you got the Tether Grant, Scepter bonus, even high ground defense. Even if GH does what he did before and teams up with the Tide Hunter, then you're giving him more buffs. And Tide, he has so much information. He'll go for the Gush, but it's actually as Tinker TP's out, the Grimstroke, Soulbinds, gets the double silence, and here we go again! Another Chain Frost. The Ravage will at least catch out on 2, but Arnold's back into the trees. Charges up. They can see where he's going, but a Chronosphere, it cleans them up. And Shadow, he wants to help out the fact, keeping Gabby off the back of Tide Hunter so we can move forward. He wants the Tinker, saving the Anchor Smash for it. They break the Aegis to the Immortal, and where's the help? Centaur can't do anything, so you'll bring him back up again. A Time Walk down, then maybe with the charge, it will cancel off any kind of extra effect that comes from the Stampede. Too good, and they're right on top of him. They burn through Gabby. He goes down, never got that BKB off.
He got it delivered. I thought he might pop it to try and save his own life, but alas, I think Armel he was a bit too greedy there. He gets the kill on Wisp. You've got to cycle back. Expect that at some point in this fight you're going to be charged, and he got that TP interrupted with a full second or 2 left.
Oh, the TP, it's going to get cancelled.
Oh, no.
And Spirit Breaker. You'll play with him for a little bit. TP support's coming over from Gyro. Now I'm actually really waiting to see the tether over. Yeah, come on, Kuro. What have you got else left? It's just, how hard can you push him? Centaur, he's taunting. He knows he's going to die, but at least he'll do it with style. A hoof stomp down, but Matumba's Anchor Smash. So much damage when he's also got the Desolator.
He also talented for the Gush, like we've seen time and time again. 12 armor reduction on Gush, 7 from the Desolator.
I really actually want to see GH almost team up with the Tide more. But he needs to give that bonus to Shadow. Shadow needs to be the big hero for damage.
Exactly. We talk about it a lot. Whenever you have these heroes like Gyro Medusa, damage steroids become so much more effective. Sure, you don't have a hero that necessarily provides auras, but when you can just put minus 19 armor on a target, Shadow could be attacking something 1,000 units away, and just those flak attacks can be able to finish that kill. Armel, you've got to play perfectly, man. You cannot be... You can't die. You cannot die, or the damage of TNC disappears.
Yep.
And the Gyro, like somehow Shadow, even though Liquid has made a couple of miscues, they're in. They have 2K gold ahead, and Shadow's top of the net worth charts, or at least he was until just a moment ago.
Yeah, effective net worth also puts him up just because he gets the free Aghanim Scepter from GH. So you could look at the money just from that side of things, and the fact that GH now has a mech. His sustain's going to get better. And TNC, they're dropping GH down, but they're only just at the moment killing him. And unless they're able to hold him in the Soulbind and then Tinker opens up, if they don't get that combination on GH, it's going to be problematic.
Yeah, and I like how Darkseer and Tide have played this game. They both have Blink Daggers. You only have 1 BKB, and it's on the Void. Now you have 3 heroes. The Break, all the Strength heroes can theoretically hunt the Tinker and find him. and then there could even be a relocate on top if necessary.
This Observer Ward is doing so much. They know they're farming up the Ancients, and they lock them together. Here's your combination. Mind Control tries to do something, jumping on the Tinker on the back, but double buybacks. They're going to try and turn this one around. GH and Shadow moving forward. Gabby, he's jumped down, begins his own TP. They go after the Centaur. He's down in the trees. Blink off cooldown a couple of seconds time.
Oh my god, they're so fast.
Yeah, remember?
Did you see that?
Tethered together. You hold the same movement speed as each other.
Yeah, it was 839 when surged. Holy shit.
Maybe this is that time you get AoE surge on the Darkseer. Actually, is it even required? They just relocate down, find the kill over on Centaur. Kuro kept with the gank. And now you look towards the mid lane. Matumba, Blink, Ravage is available. They really want to be able to push some kind of big objective.
Tinker has 8 armor, okay? If he gets caught by a Ravage, Matumba Man might just kill him in a single smash. Especially you add in like just a couple of pokes. He'll be at -10.
TP forward. Tidehunter, oh, they don't see it, but Darkseer, he still wants to jump forward. Lich pulled back, but protected by Glimmer Cape. They'll take the tier 2 tower, even through the Frost Shield. 18 seconds without the Centaur. Then again, he doesn't have Stampede, and Chrono's on cooldown for 50 seconds time.
I just want to see him surge the gyro again. Like this, it just doesn't feel like Dota at times when you have these race cars zooming through the map.
Yeah, you thought Bloodseeker was always the meme for the fastest movement speed.
And that's the thing, like, don't get me wrong, TNC, you're in a fine position. It's an even game, but Liquid are going to have a much easier time ending the game. All they need is that one fight. The tower damage of TNC doesn't exist. They're going to need to continuously kill Liquid again, kill Liquid again.
Yep.
Yeah, but Liquid just need to wipe you once, and Gyro's in your base, and a Rax is dead, and another Rax is dead, just like we saw LGD do to Vici a couple of days ago.
Yeah. But they do still have to spend money. Like, they wouldn't have won that fight without spending the cash. If that fight didn't include 2 buybacks, one from the SB and one from the Tidehunter, then this advantage wouldn't just be 3,000. Like, the gold advantage is kind of plateaued a little bit over the last 10 minutes. It's bounced up and down between the two teams, but there's only 2K separating them. It's the experience where there's the bigger advantage, 12K going the way of Team Liquid. They're starting to get these high levels up. This also happens because you get the plus 40% experience gain over on the Tidehunter, who's been living through all these fights.
Yep. And it gets scarier and scarier, I feel, as TNC continue to play this game, because really, Tinker at some point is going to die. And it becomes harder and harder for him to avoid these Liquid heroes. They have double blink to find him. They've got the charge. It's always a threat. I mean, in about 2 to 3 seconds, a Spirit Breaker that gets surged into charge will traverse the map, and then there can be a relocate. Like, this is a very, again, tall ask for Armel.
Yeah, when you think about it, it's like, okay, Tinker's got time to get away. But you're right. If that surge is on him, there is no time available. And that's why we were kind of wondering, like, if it's going to be Yule Scepter. It's not an uncommon item on a Tinker. In fact, with the rearm, you can actually keep a hero out as an old counter to the Spirit Breaker, to the Spirit Bear when you had it, and you just kept it up in the air.
Thinking about it, though, that's impossible. How do you Yule's a charging Spirit Breaker moving at light speed? Can you catch a flashlight?
We do the Einstein thing. I'm going to ride at light speed, but I'm going to step forward. And then I'm moving faster than light speed.
I don't know if that's how it works.
It's not how it works. That's actually I don't even know if that was an Einstein thing or it's just there was a horrible movie called Young Einstein when that was in it. I'd say horrible movie. It was funny, but terrible. Australian cinema.
Oh god, that's why I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, that never would have reached America.
You got TNC on the hunt. Shadowblade DD, Silver Edge prepared. This could be big.
IO going to walk into it as well. The sentry wards are down. They saw him coming. Gyrocopter. Not a great time to get snagged up by the Ancient Prowlers, but as you said, homing missile. Chasing the Faceless Void, and he doesn't want a bar of it. Liquid had everyone behind that ready to fight.
Yeah. You have a Lincoln's now as well on the gyro. You've got to be careful about your spell casting.
The big man, he walks out of the pit. Hey guys! Remember me? I have Aegis as well as a cheese to grant to the lucky winner who kills me.
And here comes Liquid. They've got BKB finished on the Tidehunter. They're just gunning for this Tinker. They want to get onto those backline squishies. And Liquid,
like, who do you even hit with this? Like, can you actually, like, who is your target with the Silver Edge?
I imagine the Tidehunter just to remove the Kraken shell, but
Yeah.
It does not feel like the most effective use of that gold on
Yeah,
Void.
you want to hit Ire maybe? Like, is that the way?
I wouldn't mind an Ags in this game, and that is what he has queued up, but I feel like the
great
Maelstrom
movement.
first just to scale
Look at
better.
that surge up from Mind Control. He sees him with the Sentry Ward, breaks the smoke over on the Centaur, and they want to try and fight this one. They're trying to stay separated. Here's your cooldown, completely wasted, but the Ravage actually catching Face's Void.
He's dead.
The Time Walk didn't get him down the hill. He was too short, not enough length. They go for more with that Nether Strike, pushing back the big hero in the fights for TNC, taking out Tim's. No Soulbind, no control, no Wombo combo, and now Liquid take Roshan.
Dude, once again, man, Matumba, man. Usually he's relegated to that support core, right? You know, the Vipers, the Necros. He doesn't get a chance to strut his stuff, but so far, man, he's making Tidehunter look like a hard carry.
Yep.
He's a god
Well, he
level
is.
25,
He's
250 damage. Like
it's a heavy hitting melon.
and
They jump, they go in deep, but Ninja Boogie loses 2/3 of his life from one Anchor Smash.
thing is,
Limit Cape to protect himself.
he was trying to blink forwards and ravage the enemy side, but he actually just got hit by Gabby. The blink was canceled, and he realized, oh wait, there's a void here. Hit him, gushed, hit him once, Anchor smashed. He was dead a moment later. That is unbelievable amounts of damage. They have the Aegis now, an 8K lead, and just watch. So you can see, he gets jumped, he ravages right as he gets hit instead of blinking onto those two supports, and this is...
Yeah,
oh.
that is a
Oh my
horrible
God.
position for Gabby. Like I actually thought the TNC had the advantage in that fight. The call down hit absolutely nothing. TNC were able to disengage away from the initiation of Liquid, but not all of the initiation. So they start again. Shadow here for the 35-minute rune. They try and protect him with the Lotus, but Centaur Hoofstomp doesn't care about that. There was still Shadow who was able to get the bounty, however. A TNC, they have an advantage as well. Their high ground defense is really good. They can... They've still got the combination that Liquid will be afraid of fighting into the base. You have waves of March of the Machines. Tinker from fighting inside of his own base is a lot better. And all they need to do is just hit that one combination against Liquid. I know you're down it, but I'm feeling positive vibes for a team who's behind.
They need more than one combination, Toby, because they don't have any building damage. Void is
Yeah.
he's below the Darkseer in net worth.
He'll get it later. For now, he's currently being charged, and that's a very quick... That's a 814 movement speed. Spirit Breaker, Relocate comes in, and Kuro, he connects. The TP is cancelled. No point burning the BKB. Down for 80 seconds. The Faceless Void is gone.
And that's how easy it is. Liquid, they have an easier time finding kills. They have an easier time pressuring base, and they need fewer fights to win. It just...
Tinker.
Tinker,
Watch
you're
it.
charged.
The
That's
charge
way
is
too
coming
long.
in. They can see him. He blinks once more and then TP's out. He will get back to base safely. Kuro, maybe not going under tier 3 towers. Pull out.
Armel, man, you got to be a lot more... Like, when I watch other Tinkers at times play this, I know Armel does it too. He's a great Tinker. But you got to be quick casting immediately into those trees. You don't have time to just go through a full cast animation mid-wave. That's spooky.
We'll see the confidence of TNC's hold. They still don't have the creep wave, so backdoor protection is available for TNC. The mid lane pushed out. This is, again, that advantage of Tinker. There are so many machines marching in. It's a swarm. Just trying to keep Liquid out of the base, but it's a very shallow one. They're still concerned. Even getting rid of that Observer Ward, they didn't want to get in too close. Now, Kuro, he's just full disco. He's Disco Cal. Every bit of lighting effect they can put on him, they've got the golden immortal of Darkseer, not to mention the Mjolnir.
Yeah, it's just, it all comes back to that concept of acceleration. You don't see VP or Liquid make item mistakes, even though Liquid has a stand-in. Gyro went Maelstrom first item. He knew how late this game was going to go. Tinker, Naga, these two heroes are the ones that guarantee, unless you totally, utterly dominate your opponents, it's going to go to 30, 40 minutes plus. And Faceless Void has got 3. He went Mask, Shadowblade, BKB. That's great. But you've lost a couple fights now, and you're suddenly a non-factor, and you're unable to get more items.
Look at that speed! This gyrocopter, he's popped the rockets instantly. Tim's just explodes. He'll buy back in deep. Double hoofstomp. This is nice. Where's the combination? The Chronosphere! Gabby got it. Then, however, the follower, the Tomman's Ravage, makes it difficult. Gabby's just fighting for himself, but he does kill up the Io. They've lost that amplification, but Gabby, he cannot fight against Matumberman. That is way too strong. Has to run away, but another hoofstomp. Just try and delay the attack. Keep the Racked alive. Soulbind not available. BKB from Shadow. Now it will be popped. They still want to try and fight. Negative armor on the Centaur, and that's why he just evaporates all health, but no protection. The Racked is gone, and that's enough for Liquid. They'll back up with no IO. This is huge. TNC could still hold, but it's a rough ask.
Yeah, and you can see Mind Control playing that flawlessly, just not getting antsy, all right? Lesser players might have been tempted, I want to blink in and vacuum, let's get involved.
Yep.
He's just chilling, hits that AoE surge on both of his cores. They know that they're really not threatened. You tank that Centaur stun, it doesn't matter. You can run away from the base at 800 move speed. You're outpacing a Stampede. Their cheat is chasing after, what's a slower creature? I was going to say gazelles, but it's similar.
Yeah, gazelles can move pretty quickly. Let's just say like a tortoise. A cheetah versus a tortoise.
Nah, well,
That's too
fast.
easy?
Wildebeest. Cheetah versus wildebeest. That's like,
Okay.
that's, you know,
You're giving it a fighting chance. then.
ecologically accurate, yeah. you have a possibility.
A cheetah versus a hippo. Actually, hippos can be really fast.
You can't even like, I've seen videos of lions like jumping on top of hippos. You actually can't break through their skin.
No, you can't break through the skin, and a hippo's jaw will actually snap you. Like, it's so strong.
Hippos are terrifying.
Well, Tinker.
Just like this Liquid lineup.
Nice transition. Laser upgraded. I was actually wondering if he was going to look for the mini suns, anything to try and stop the charging forward, but he went for laser buff up, even though he doesn't have an Aghanim Scepter on the Tinker.
Yeah, it comes down to the building damage, Liquid understanding their lineup, and it looks so promising for TNC, and
It really
it's
did.
deceptive because they're winning fights, but then you think, wait, where were the objectives? Where was the building damage? And how much easier is it for Liquid to close out games?
Just watch this Tidehunter damage go through the roof. He's already a plus 359. And, okay, double chrono. Here's the Wombo combo. Hit him in the pit. 2 heroes down. Spirit Breaker's gone. No way that Liquid can reply that fast enough. He was just looking at the DD and saying, oh, this would be nice to grab.
And this is a great example of the point we were just articulating. Yeah, you get these 2 huge kills. It's great for TNC, but now your chrono cooldown is for 95 more seconds, Tide's up in 100. So yeah, sure, you could continue to pressure, but I'm pretty sure Liquid's confident they could 3v5, and I'm sure they'll have buybacks ready to go if TNC overcommit.
So instead, like TNC, they just push out the side lanes. They get control. Maybe they can take this free mid tower, but no. Liquid, they jump forward. The Darkseer wall, Stampede, only other choice. They have to back out of it. As Grimscope, that's going in a little deep, even with a Blink Dagger. His cores are currently trying to get rid of the Darkseer illusions.
And like you can see, TNC, even up 2 heroes, yes, buybacks are a threat, but you still can't play with confidence because the tool you use to win all of these fights is on cooldown. I again point, maybe you how do you win this game, Gabby, with these items?
Do you get Aghanim Scepter instead of this Lincoln Sphere pickup?
Lincoln isn't going to do a goddamn thing, Toby.
You just need like Chronosphere, lower cooldown all the time. You can have it up. Obviously, you're still going to have the combination with a Grimstroke. Like that's a 50-second cooldown time. They look to prime push mid. Maybe they just want the force to buy back over on the Tidehunter because there's no Ravage up. Centaur, Inkswell, he does not go for the jump.
With no chrono, they are unable to take fights. Like, yes, you have a Hex on Tinker, but the moment he shows himself, he will immediately be charged, and that's where the buyback could come in. The BKB relocate. Like, you're just all in for him.
Do you almost like buy a Lincoln Sphere over on the Tinker? So I was like, you can't instantly charge me anymore. It seems like a stupid item to get, but right now, like, he's just too visible. He's got 5.5k gold on this Tinker.
I could see that. I think I still and Ags. It's too late for Ags. Maybe Shiva's the problem. It's the same problem.
Yeah,
he has to play the outskirts of fights and.
But like the
so dangerous.
The Aghanim Scepter feels like you almost need to when you get the plus laser damage, so at least you get some efficiency when Liquid are trying to push up into the high ground. But they push so fast that by the time you hit them, it's not a range harassment anymore.
Yeah, he's going to buy a BKB, which at least allows him to play with confidence against the Ravage. The problem is, unless a core is CC'd by Chrono, like Tide plus Gyro kills Tinker through BKB.
Yep.
All Gyro does is hit something just like we do Shadow do in the base when he killed that Rax. He flaks. The Tumbleman blinks on top.
Okay. I don't know where we're going again, but that was fun. Aghanim Scepter is on the Centaur, so there's a damage reduction of 40%. This will buy TNC a little bit of time. And you've then got the Frost Shield, so maybe they can keep someone alive. But Mataman, they charge him in towards Roshan. Roshan is not alive yet. He will respawn in 55 seconds.
You have an Arcane Rune on the Tinker bottled, near 7,000 gold. Again, not sure what item really changes the status quo. We know the problems TNC has, how they deal with them remains to be seen. Liquid.
It's delayed. It's a BKB Tinker. Okay, yeah, cool.
Liquid's confident. It's only an 11k lead, which is still quite a lot, but at 44 minutes or so, it's not so large. And yeah, you got a Rax too, but against Tinker, that's relatively irrelevant. He's always going to be able to keep that lane shoved. In fact, even against the super creeps, he's got the creep wave bottom on the tier 2. They run under the ward, though. This could be good for TNC.
Observer and Sentry, do they want to try and fight this? They're together. There's the Hoof Stomp.
no.
They need the double combination, but Centaur, they do actually hit it with a Soul Bind, but once again, the Ravage pops off, and that Lich Chain Frost bounces around, but it goes the opposite direction with everyone together. Shadow gets the double kill underneath the shrine. TNC die. 5 heroes.
They
were in that, and 4 of them died. Centaur, the only one to get out, but he got caught in the chrono.
Yep. Shadow is healing with Satanic hits while he's in Chronosphere, thanks to that Aghanim Scepter upgrade from Wisp.
Boy.
And you have a BKB on both targets.
And
that double Lich ult's irrelevant now.
Look at the AoE surge. They just go up into the high ground once again. Everyone even grouped up for it.
And you can see the difference, right? 2 heroes dead on TNC. Liquid's diving the base.
Yep.
2 heroes dead on Liquid. TNC have to play safe and scared.
Tanada finally gets out of the tree line. I think he was waiting for the Tinker to jump into the tree line and just get that instant kill. So the lane of Rax now on top is gone. Both sidelines taken care of, and they get the buyback from the Faceless Void. But
Shadow has 10,000 gold.
Yeah, he wants to... Okay, maybe he should spend some of that. But the push is coming into the mid lane. The tier 3 tower, he's buying it up now. But Liquid, they want to jump. No Ravage available, but a Daedalus on the Tidehunter. You look for that damage. Great Hoofstomp, catching 3. Soul Bind him. The Chain Frost should be pretty damn good as well. But Ninja Boogie, they don't actually have anything. The Soul Bind can't be there because you don't have the Grimstroke alive. I look for it, and there's like nothing.
18-14 on those crits.
Oh, Tidehunter is a real hero. Now move back into Roshan with Lich dead. Combinations down once more. No Chronosphere available for 14 seconds. Gabby can't get there in time. Roshan dies too quickly.
And they wouldn't even matter if he was. There's no Chronosphere available, and we've seen just how fast he dies if he's attacked for even a few moments by these Liquid cores.
Now
Refresher.
You've got, Refresher Shaft for Tide, so you got double Ravage, you got double BKBs for him to stay immune. That Butterfly was purchased up by the Gyrocopter. He's already moved his treads out, so he can switch in. Oh, he moved the S and Y out. Sure, why not? They got no direct damage now, TNC, to kill off Shadow.
Yeah, and they have 2 pipes.
Stomp. Try and hold him in position. Looking for the follow-up stuns, but Lotus Orb will protect Shadow. Homing missiles, jumping forward. All 3 go towards the Centaur. Call down. That seems a little preemptive as the Chronosphere on bottom lane. They're catching Matumba. He cannot get anything off, but then he just uses buyback. They actually have no Chronosphere now, buying BTs. Why do I just feel like I got debated?
The status resist on this Gyrocopter, my god, he's getting stunned for all of like a second and a half.
There's your Ravage, #1, instantly removing off the Grimstroke. His buyback's available, and they need the extra control. A double stun from Kuro, but here comes your Ravage. Matumba, hexed up, he'll break free instantly, and they're a little bit too far away from Gabby. He jumps forward, but there's no Chronosphere. He has to bounce back instantly. The damage is just so high. GH actually has the tethered ability. He was doing more damage than I've seen the Faceless Void do. Another hoof stomp forward. They look towards the center. Armel jumps in deep. BKB will protect him. He'll actually re-arm and blink further away, trying to fight underneath their own tier 4 towers. Now the charge forward. Damn, they move fast. Through the centaur, through the void, and in through to the next round. They will take the fountain, and Team Liquid keep their lower bracket hopes alive. They already got knocked down by Team Secret, who look in massive form. They've got their winners bracket position, but Liquid move forward to face up against Fnatic in the lower bracket round 3, and they do it with confidence.
That was the Shadow Show, and obviously his team playing excellent, but
that was possibly the worst high-five. Show a replay of just that all the time.
You can high-five however you want when you play Dota that well.
That was a fist high.
All good. There's a little bit of miscoordination, but you know what? They're getting there. They've got a day off to scrim, relax. Shadow just great Dota. TNC, probably disappointed with their results, but they are playing with the stand-in.
Yeah.
The draft, it looks good on paper, but we've got to keep in mind just like what this patch is all about. If you can't scale to deal damage to Roshan, to buildings, it doesn't matter how many team fights you win. If you're cooldown dependent, you can't actually turn this numbers advantage into real damage on the enemy base. And what's the goal of Dota?
To kill the Ancient.
Exactly.
That's how you win the game. 101. But you're right. It's like, it was always one of those old school problems of the Faceless Void, right? How do you get damaged on this guy? You always had the Battle Fury, you always had something else. In this case, it was like he almost filled the role of that 3 position. I Chronosphere, so my supports can do their work. Wasn't enough at the end of the day, Team Liquid. They 2-0 it to give us a fast end to the day and advance to the next round. But of course, you don't get to go just yet. You got some people to listen to first.